Hello, my name is Chris York, and I am a fourth grade teacher at Washington Irving School 14, and I would like to share with you my implementation plan to add STEM into our school and integrate it into our curriculum over the next 3 years. So, current data for Washington Irving School 14 is we currently service about 489 students. We're around 450 this year. Our enrollment is we're very diverse with black and white making up the majority of our population, with a high growing ESL population rising every year. We're seeing more ESL students coming into our school, especially in grades 3 through 6. So, current ISTEP data for 2014 and 2015 shows that in both English and language arts math, we only had passing just over 20%. That puts us at compared to the state at around 52%. So our kids are getting outperformed almost double than their future co-workers are, how they're performing. If you compare that with science only, though, in the state, we are just barely over 10%, right around 15 to be exact. 15% passing in science in grades 3 through 6, while the state is close to 70%. So we do not do a good job at our school of integrating science and social studies and those types of things within our curriculum, and it shows when we take the test. As of 2016, actually, all of IPS have been set up on free and reduced lunch meal plans. So, and then our iRead, this is something our school is very proud of. Our iRead puts us about 80% passing iRead. Compare that to the 90% of the state and the 75% of the district. So, with that, we feel like we are preparing our kids very well for reading. They're getting that down. Now we just want to build in those the STEM part to that. So, job outlook and skills needed for our area. Well, our students need to be highly skilled in engineering and mathematics to compete for jobs that Indianapolis has to offer. Just in walking distance from our school, literally right across the street, we have Angie's List and the new Cummins Engineering offices will be building right there on East Washington Street. And our kids need to be skilled in mathematics and engineering, as well as communication and collaboration and perseverance in order to get these jobs that are right in their backyards. We took a small field trip, walked down to Angie's List campus this year with my class, and they were shocked and blown away by how much communication, teamwork, collaboration was going on a daily basis at Angie's List. It wasn't just them sitting in their cubicle by themselves. It was constant talking, constant meetings, constant trying to problem solve, which is all STEM related skills that are being taught. So, what does a STEM classroom look like? Well, teachers are facilitators rather than lecturers. They're going through real world problems with the students. Students aren't just sitting there listening to a teacher talk and talk. Studies show that kids can't just sit there for 50 minutes and be able to absorb all the information that a teacher is giving them. Students are working collaboratively. They're solving real world problems. They're engaging in inquiry, asking questions, and they're being self-motivated and trying to figure out the questions that they're having now. This classroom environment is arranged in a way that facilitates group work. Computers or instructional technology are easily accessible as well. And our school this past year just got new computers for our classrooms and in our school, as well as each of our classes set up in a way so that we do have collaboration and teamwork and discussion between the students. So we have the classroom environment piece down. Now we just need to get the teacher and student piece within STEM integrated as well. So you can see here that math and science and ELA, this chart here shows how the commonalities between the three. And if you look at ES5, or E5, I'm sorry, read, write, speak, grounded in evidence. This is a skill that I think students have to be highly taught in, as well as students need to learn how to do as they get through high school and going into college and getting into the workforce. And according to Roger Bibby, in the book The Case for STEM Education, he makes the point on 64 that there should be a clear distinction between an education in science that prepares for future study of science, for example, and an education that contributes to students' growth into literate adults. And what I get from that is that, some schools may say, yeah, well, we do a good job of teaching science to our kids. But that's not what Bobby's talking about. He's talking like we can't just say that teaching the science is good enough. No, we have to be able to not just teach the science, but give our kids the skills needed to use that science and be literate adults going forward. He also points out that STEM helps kids make reasonable arguments based on evidence and fulfill their civic duties at the local, national, and global levels as well. So, the program that I am offering up to our school is the VEX IQ Robotics. Who will be involved? Well, this is going to be for grades 4 through 6, and we're going to start off with 2 teams of 8. A new team will be added each year as new 4th graders come into the program. But we're going to stop this with just 10 teams and make basically that's because of manpower, but we're going to integrate some stuff in here as well. This is going to be for girls and boys and minorities as well. We want to make sure that we are specifically targeting girls and minorities within this so that they can get experience within engineering and job and hopefully gain a passion for those fields. We're going to be using community volunteers from US 2020 to help us out, give us manpower with this, as well as using Cummins engineer volunteers. So what are the outcomes? Well, outcomes will be that students will stay involved in the robotics competition through elementary school. They will develop their skills that they're learning and build upon their passion for engineering and robotics. This will transition them into middle school, where we will partner to pit the students on an engineering team or robotics team at an IPS middle school. And through these through this, they're going to be able to build, not just learn how to build robotics, but how to solve real-world problems, how to think, how to problem solve, how to critically think, how to persevere, how to collaborate with one another. So those are other outcomes. What will this look like? Well, this will look like an after-school program that will meet twice a week. They will compete in the VEX IQ competitions around the state, and they will redesign the robot every week to improve upon it. They will also be part of what we are going to call at our school STEM Pros. These STEM Pros are students that will help teachers with planning and leading small groups in grades K through 2. The STEM Pros will help assemble Lego structures in the lower grades while trying to incorporate engineering strategies that they have learned along the way. So resources that we will need. Well, we need to first buy VEX kits, and these are to get a field that we need, as well as the robot itself is about $5,000 for each one. This is a one-time purchase that we will need. There's going to be travel money for competitions that we're going to max out at $10,000 yearly. We may not use all that, but we may, just depending on how far we go each year. We will need a STEM certified teacher, so that's going to be $5,000 in professional development. And we will also use money we received from the Verizon Wireless STEM grant of a total of $20,000 to help pay for this STEM certified teacher, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. And any additional money, we're going to be asked, that this comes from the Title I budget for any additional money that we may need, either for the STEM certified teacher for payment or for extra kits throughout as we go throughout this process. So we believe that this money will not only help us for this year, but it's going to help sustain the program after this year. So, VEX Robotics. Students will be working in collaborative groups building 21st century skills. Teachers will be getting professional development on how to implement STEM into their daily practice. And teachers are going to be facilitating learning groups, preparing rubrics, creating DOK level questions for reflection of the product, and registering teams for competitions. So is this program applicable and relevant for students? Well, I just have it's working with robots, right? I mean, what kid, if you tell them, do you want to build a robot, do you want to work with a robot, isn't going to light up and be excited? This is a great hands-on activity. They're constantly thinking, constantly moving, constantly talking, and it just allows them to be a part of something more than just their classrooms, getting them involved in the community and in the school. So, what is the return of investment for this? Well, we believe that students are gaining a passion for a STEM field at an early age. This will allow them to become independent learners as they get older and will pursue their passion into college, hopefully. This will make our community better as well by having students wanting to participate in an after-school activity that will lead them to a real job in our area, in their backyard in the coming year. So how will students be assessed? Well, they will be assessed by the end products, meaning they will not be assessed by how they placed in an event, right? That's key. But we're going to assess them by how much did your robot change throughout the year. Like, where did you start? What was the thought process of why you started it this way? And what was your thought process for changing it? And VEX does a great job at the competitions of having judges come around and having students think about this as well. So how will the program itself be evaluated? Well, we want to create a rubric that students are going to be doing, and our volunteers will be judging, using the rubric to judge the teams as well, to figure out, how well did they collaborate together. Maybe they didn't start off so well at the beginning of the year, but by the end of the year they've really grown. Their communication skills with one another and with adults, and their problem solving skills, and as well as their grit. Did they learn how to persevere when things got tough? So resources needed. This just is a graph going, but that outlines what we talked about earlier. As you can see here, the biggest chunk is $25,000 for personnel, and again, most of that money is coming from the STEM grant from Verizon. So, timeline for implementation of the program. So, after the end of year 1, I would like to have 2 competitive robotics teams having 8 STEM pros. End of year 2, have 3 competitive robotics teams having 16 STEM pros at that point. And at the end of year 3, have 5 competitive robotics teams with 24 STEM pros. So you can see we want to keep having these STEM pros helping out our teachers in the lower level, getting kids into small groups and helping guide and facilitate them. One of the big things with STEM for me is that you have to have the manpower to get it done. And this is an easy way where we can use kids in our building that are going to have these skills. A lot of these 4th graders at the end of year 3, they're going to be 6th graders, and they're going to have 2 years, 3 years under their belt of thinking like engineers and problem solving and communicating. And we think it's very important that our kids, in the real world, in a job setting, you're talking to different aged people all the time, and you got to know how to communicate and how to get on their level. Whether it's, if you're a 25-year-old, you're talking to a 60-some-year-old person, you got to know how to talk to them just like you would somebody your own age. So we think this is setting themselves up for great success in the future. Timeline of implementation for the teachers. Well, at the end of year 1, we will have 1 STEM certified teacher in our school. The role will be to facilitate teachers in the classroom with STEM activities. So they're going in, helping prepare lessons, make lesson plans, and help out that teacher. At the end of year 2, we will still have the 1 full-time STEM teacher, but now we're going to have 4 teachers who have went to summer training for professional development and now are STEM certified. So now they're going to take on the role of our 1 full-time STEM teacher, and they're going to work together to now let's integrate more of this into our math, more of this into our reading, more of this into our science and social studies. How can we make these units of study? How can we make these project-based learning things? And the more teachers that we have, we feel like the greater success that we will have. And at the end of year 3, still have the 1 full-time STEM teacher who's helping, but now during summer we're going to train another 4 teachers. So this could be 4 from the lower elementary and 4 from upper, basically 1 for each grade level. And these teachers are going to be, again, working now with the teachers from the year before, as well as the 1 full-time STEM teacher, and creating these lessons and integrating STEM more into the curriculum as well. So, timeline for the community. Well, year 1, we're going to have engineering volunteers from Cummins and US 2020. At the year 2, we're going to have now our STEM pros and STEM certified teachers having family STEM night at least once a month at our school. So we're going to use these STEM certified teachers and now these 16 STEM pros to help our families bring their younger kids, maybe bring some older kids, and have these STEM nights. One of the things that we would like to do at these STEM nights is Coder Dojo, where kids can get on a computer and learn how to code their own game app. That way they can get on and play it and have something to brag to their friends and family about as well. And at the end of year 3, we would have our STEM pros, STEM certified teachers, and now our STEM parents volunteers, parents who've been coming to the monthly ones from the year before. We can have all these people in the school for STEM implementation in the classroom and STEM family. So we're just adding more manpower every year. And as families get more aware of what STEM is, what it looks like, their kids are getting more excited for it, we want to use that to our advantage and have these parents, STEM pros, and STEM teachers really start to get this into our curriculum and implementation. So that is my implementation plan. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.